All right. I'm going to call this workshop to order. This is a workshop to discuss the how to get the necessary data to support a broadband initiative in Carroll County. So let's start with pledge of allegiance.
Get my knees working.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, there's no need for me to declare a quorum for this meeting, but just for the record, let's call a roll.
Okay, Councilmember Dumas. Here. Councilmember Elwood. Here. Councilmember Graves.
Here.
Councilmember Kuhn.
Here.
Councilmember Mills.
Here.
Councilmember Pittman.
Here.
Mayor Keys.
Here.
Everyone present, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Just a little background for the people that came to participate in the workshop here. The state of Arkansas has a ton of money. I forget the exact number.
$1.7 billion.
$1.7 billion from the American Rescue Plan Act and the infrastructure bill and things like that their goal for using this money is to run fiber optic cable to all underserved citizens in the state of Arkansas. And by underserved, they mean anyone that doesn't currently have broadband capability for whatever reason. And their definition of broadband is 100 megabytes or megabits, bytes, I guess. Download speed and 25 upload speed. They're tying this to fiber optics in that they're trying to find internet service providers to work with that will install the fiber optic cable and then provide internet service to those customers that they hook up. The catch for the ISP is that they have to be willing to provide that service for $75 a month or less to people that basically can't afford more than that. So they have a group of people that's working statewide, and they're doing this county by county. And each county is responsible for putting together a statistics package, basically, that defines how underserved their county is. And so we have a committee like that working in Carroll County. All the cities are participating in it. Some of the major employers and the school districts, and I guess the medical facilities are participating in this. We're under a deadline because the state wants the survey data back by sometime in August, let's say mid-August. And here it is almost the middle of July already. So, we've known about this data collection project for, probably at least a month already. So we're dragging behind a little bit and even going after the data. If you could pull up you have a sample of the card on there. Why don't you pull that up? First of all, I guess we could define what is meant by broadband, a little bit more definition. The state is defining it strictly as download and upload speed. When some people think of broadband, they think of fiber optic cable, that you can't have broadband unless you have fiber. But that is not the definition. The technical definition of broadband is is the amount of data that can be transmitted, and it can be either coaxial cable, fiber optic cable, it can be DSL over phone lines, it can be cellular over a cell tower, can be satellite. They don't really care. Yeah, under the broad definition of broadband, they don't really care how you have access to the internet. It's more a matter of your upload and download speed. So, and I guess that the 100 down and 25 up definition came from the fact that most, if you're doing telemedicine, or if your kids are having to do off-site learning, again, if we ever have another pandemic or something like that, and the kids have to do classes from home, they figure that would be adequate. It would probably be adequate for most work from home people also, although there are much better services available. Our problem here in Holiday Island has kind of historically been that we were dependent on Cox. If you live line of sight to a cell tower, you might be able to use T-Mobile or somebody like that. And we do have some people in Holiday Island here that use that, and they love it. But if you're not close to a cell tower, or if you don't have line of sight to a cell tower, that would be unavailable to you. The problem we've had with Cox is that they don't necessarily provide the level of service that you think you're paying for. They have historically had outage problems where they'd be up and down for sometimes long periods of time. And the biggest problem is that they don't provide their coaxial cable service to every location in Holiday Island. I've heard numbers as much as 500 residences here in Holiday Island that do not have Cox cable, because when Cox did the initial installation, there probably weren't any houses on a particular road, so they stopped with their cable at point X. And if you live at point Y now and you want the cable run out there, they'll charge you, here again, I've heard numbers of $3, $4, $5, $10, $15,000.
Well, that first grant application, there was one gentleman that they quoted $14,000.
Yeah.
That's the other part of this. The survey is a big part of it, but each city and entity in the county has to get anecdotal evidence. And if you know of anybody who is in a situation like Dan mentioned, that they live a half a mile or 2 blocks from the end of the line for Cox and quoted thousands of dollars to connect. That's one reason that we're kind of in this dilemma, because Cox, previously the government has allowed the providers to provide the information of who all they can reach. And so they can say cable is available, and they do. Cable is available to 100% of the residents or households in Holiday Island. But available means, at a cost.
At any price.
At any price. And so we're going to, again, gather letters to the company, the survey. And so hopefully we'll get a piece of the pie this time.
You want to pull up the survey card? So the purpose of we've had other workshops and discussions about this in the past. And what it comes down to, our task right now, the challenge in front of us, is getting as many of these survey cards filled out as possible. And we've had discussions about this with the consortium in the county, and they've been advocating like in Eureka Springs, you know, they were gonna mail out the cards and just have people fill them out and mail them back, or they were going to, you know, go around and, you know, somehow collect the data. Problem is, if you scroll down to the actual data part of it, the questions that were developed to put on the survey, a lot of people in Holiday Island wouldn't have a clue as to how to answer that even. If you ask them what their download speed is, I don't know, you know, they wouldn't have any idea. And, and they probably might not know if the line coming into their house is coaxial cable or fiber or whatever, you know, that, so
What are we calling what comes into our house?
coaxial cable,
That's not one of the choices.
that's right. They brought
That's
that
why
up
I'm
with
saying,
Sandy.
when somebody asks what.
Write it in.
Yeah, that was problem number one when we went over this, and I don't know why they left that off of there, because it's what most people in Carroll County, I think, have. I know most people in Eureka Springs have Cox, so I don't know why they left it off of there. But anyway,
Now, we do have I don't know what format it's in, but it's a editable document where we can change our questions to something else.
yeah, and we talked about that too. The problem with that is that at some point they have to make a consolidated report to the state that represents all the data in the county. And if our data is totally different data than everybody else's, how do you merge our data into the bigger database?
Well, how do you get, yeah, you'd have to reprint all the cards.
And it wouldn't match up.
But wouldn't the closest thing to coaxial cable be fixed wireless?
No.
It's fixed wireless, not fixed wire.
None of these are close.
DSL would be telephone line.
Right.
Satellite, we know what that is.
DSL is
Cellular
not
is-
broadband either.
Cellular is cell tower. Fiber optic cable, we know, and there is none in Holiday Island. I don't know what fixed wireless is. What is fixed wireless?
It's in this definition, in the thing here, the toolkit. It says fixed wireless connection is a transmission between equipment that is fixed in a specific
It is.
location, usually a tower,
Yeah,
in
cell
one
tower,
location.
cell tower to.
and an antenna or receiver on your home or business.
Yeah, there's no one with that.
I think that was what, what's his name, the guy with the internet company in Carroll County.
The $80 man?
I think that's what T-Mobile does.
It might- I
They've
think
got a
that's
wireless
probably
connection
what
to
they
your
do.
home.
Well, yeah, maybe.
So bottom line is, if we're asked the question how to answer to, we should just tell them, write it in.
Yes,
Correct.
if you write it in, and, I mean, if our own survey would not jive with theirs, will they even count it if you write it in?
I
Yeah,
think,
they'll count it.
Yeah.
They'll make, they were gonna make another entry on their survey to account for.
yeah, and
that. Consolidated.
I'm sure that the other, cities are gonna have to do the same
I
thing.
think anybody in
It says-
Carroll County that has.
I think they just overlooked it, and by the time anybody pointed it out, they already had 10,000 cards printed. So they weren't gonna reprint them.
The other, and I don't think I'm premature, but the other thing that's gonna be hard for a lot of people to answer, like me, is number 4. I mean, I can show them how to do it, any of you can show them how to do it, but when we're trying to get cards filled out at a meeting or something, they're not gonna have the availability right then. Can you infer the answer to 4 from the answer to 5? Is
Good
that?
question.
No, because you can buy lower megabit service.
I know, but if I'm paying $50 or $75 or $90, will that give me an inference of which one in that 4 that I'm good enough for the survey?
It's more likely gonna be lower than what you're paying for.
Okay,
If you go to Cox, website on the internet, you could probably see the various levels and the various plans.
no, I'm just saying, when we're sitting in a meeting and want somebody to fill it out, if they're saying they're paying 50, I can guarantee they're probably getting,
They're getting the 50 to
I
70.
think we could figure it out from the Cox website.
They're,
okay, what I'm getting is some guidance at a meeting without having to go test it or something, or look at their bill or whatever. They're not asking what you're actually getting, they're actually asking what you're paying for.
Most
Well, there's
people,
another question about what you're getting to.
Yeah, but this question is what you're paying for, and that's what I'm saying, is it fair for the survey to tell them you can assume from the answer to 5 what the answer to 4 is?
And I would say if they don't know, just put the lowest level. They're getting caught.
Well,
because that's probably what most people are getting, the basic.
what speeds is?
If you're paying for a higher level, you probably know you're paying for a higher level.
Well, and
Like,
The
well,
last
like
option
me, I pay
is-
$440 for cable and internet.
How much?
$440.
what?
why?
Says
Because
Cox.
I buy a lot of cable, and I bought the top service.
It says they got speeds from.
On
10
that bill, it
to
shows your separate charge for the internet connections separate from your TV. So,
Yeah, that's
Sure.
what I was,
Which give you what you're paying.
that's what I was gonna say, most people know what their Cox bill is, but they won't know how much.
That's
they're
exactly
paying
my
for internet.
point.
right.
Can you infer the answer to one from the other?
Well, but then if we can just get people to print out or.
Well, we're not gonna be able to do that if we're sitting in a meeting, we've got a stack of cards,
Well,
and
that's
people are
true.
coming in and we're trying to get them to answer.
Yeah.
I wanna give them an easy way to answer these
And I wanna
questions.
tell you, it took me 30 to 40 minutes just to figure out how to print my bill and to know what I was getting.
Really?
Yeah, to get through the internet.
I just have to ask the why.
They're
First,
easy
you
to
have to
use
look up
customer
your
support.
password, then you have to find the right screen
But
that it's on.
Going back to that, just for purposes of trying to get some kind of rough numbers, can I tell somebody if they're paying less than 50, then it's gonna be probably the first one, if it's
Yeah.
51 to 75, it's probably one of the next two, and if it's 70 to 90, can we just make that inference
Well,
for
but
purposes of
that's
this?
not true in my case, because I paid $69.99, and my plan is, I'm supposed to be able to get 250 download and upload.
250?
And I ran a test and I got, 229 download and 10
I'm just trying to figure out a real easy way when if we get some people willing to answer this, they're not gonna be running it, they're not gonna have their bill, they're not gonna be able to, I don't want them to go home and test it. I want them to be able to answer the card and turn it in, and I hate to leave it blank if they don't.
Well, it's gonna be an uneducated guess.
That's what I'm getting at, but can we
When
infer a
Sandy
little
was
bit?
here, that's what she suggested we do.
Okay,
do an uneducated.
Yes.
and then the subsequent question, yes or no, is that, can they just say, how many times did you get this? You're trying to.
Never.
Yeah.
I
Because the
think
point
there'd be
is
a lot
to
of
get it
those.
filled out and
But
get it
that's what
filled
we
out.
want,
quick.
is a lot of those.
That's
but
right.
But I don't wanna be
Yeah.
dishonest either.
Probably the best question, if you're helping somebody fill out their card, probably the best question to ask them is, to your knowledge, are you paying for more than just the basic? And if they say no, then, check the box for the
Yeah.
basic.
That's what I'm getting at, this is gonna be, have to be a practical solution to filling these out, and this is a little bit technical for me, which means it's a little bit technical for lots of people. But we want a lot of them to just press no on the first question, and then that's great, but I don't know, we're gonna get that. Okay, sorry, that's enough.
It's
of mine.
interesting, in the little bit I've been looking at the Cox website, they're not offering anything less than 250 now, as a new customer.
In just the internet only, or? in
No, it just,
one
it says the download speed's up to 250 on all their packages.
And I have the top level plan and I'm getting 20.
And so do I, I'm getting
Yeah,
30 and 40.
3 tests I ran this afternoon.
Wow.
The last time we talked about this, I raised the question that the computer that you're testing can be influenced by your Wi-Fi capability in the house.
Probably can.
Yeah, so there's another, data, if you're asking somebody to run a test with their computer, you'd have to say, how close are you to your Wi-Fi router?
And that's true, I was not very close to my Wi-Fi router.
Ah,
In my case, the
I'm right.
The
there.
Wi-Fi
So
router
next to my-
has to go through an outside brick wall and back in through an outside brick wall to get to my office computer.
I got their schedule up here, it's $49.99 for 100 minutes, or,
Found it.
To get the
you got it too.
100 left.
I can't find it.
Well, that explains why my smart
100
TV
meg-
works fast.
250 is 69.
Laptop.
I hook my router in with a
500 is,
wired connection. My router is guaranteed for up to 250, but it still only shows speeds 40. Wired.
Okay. You got it.
That's right.
Which is my question, now how do we get them filled out?
That's right.
If they have trouble with their TV signal, like dialing on the picture and so on, does that indicate that they have poor service
It
or
depends.
internet?
Is it cable they're watching or they're watching streaming?
Okay.
If you're streaming, you're over the internet. If you're cable, it's cable.
Ah, true.
Not off the cable.
But if your
Same connection.
internet is provided by Cox Cable,
Yes.
it's over the cable.
It's on the same wire, but it's a different signal. The internet is a separate signal from the cable TV signal,
Oh, okay.
on the same wire.
Yeah, well, cause I have Cox cable, or I mean Cox internet, but I've got a satellite dish for the TV, but I can still stream movies, but that's through the router.
right here,
And I never get one of these on that, so I must have,
there we go.
You have a good wireless connection.
well, they're this far apart.
No, to your satellite.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Cox is over, operating.
Okay, we're making it harder to focus on.
Well,
Yeah, well, let's-
and I think we're making it too complicated.
Yes,
As we said, everybody is under the assumption we're gonna have to do some, educated guesses
Yeah, that's,
and not try to make it rocket science.
the next question I've got, I think the whole thing, is what I'm thinking before my brain stops. Are we gonna go to the trouble of trying to put addresses on these, or just forget that part of it? That'd be a lot of
I thought
data.
what we decided at the last meeting was
Just
to,
write
to
HI.
write HI in the
And that's
corner,
enough, yeah.
no name, just
Well, I
just
know.
identify that it came from Holiday Island.
That was the hard part.
We need to take each of those questions and turn them into a question that can be answered. Kind of like you were doing.
Well, that's what I'm saying, somebody's gonna ask, if I get into a situation, hopefully we will, where I've got a stack of these, and people willing to fill it out, I need to give them some easy ways to guess as to the answer. So, I think I've got it,
I like question number one, that's basic.
that's
I
pretty
think
easy.
question number two should be, do you access the internet through a computer or through your cell
We can't
That's the
change,
first
Oh, we
question.
can't change the question.
we can't be changing the
But
question.
you're
Well,
trying
if
to
you
get
use
to
your
the
cell
answer.
phone, you're using cellular.
You're asking that extra question to get to the answer.
Well, most people use both.
phone?
And then you drill down to, okay, if you're not using your cell phone and getting it through your computer, does it come in through Cox? Does it come in through your cell phone plan? Or like, do you have a T-Mobile device in your house, or like UMA can give you a box at your home to get the cell service, to have a voice over internet protocol phone in your home?
I would assume it comes in through the,
But the question is where the internet connection.
I have a modem.
Right.
Anybody in the gallery have any
I
ideas?
only have internet.
Bill?
Bill.
At my house, I'm at the very bottom of State Line Drive. I'm in a bowl, I can't get very good cellular system at all. However, T-Mobile has provided me with a cellular booster so that I can use T-Mobile in my house. So when I'm in the house and have data coming in, I'll use Wi-Fi on my phone. But if I go outside of the house, then I have to connect to T-Mobile outside of the house to be able to bring in data. So it's always a mix with me. I have tried in fact, I ordered and tried to install the T-Mobile wireless because at that point, Cox was charging me $109 a month, and it was going up almost every month. And so I tried T-Mobile, could not get a signal T-Mobile, even put an external antenna on the T-Mobile router and could not get a signal there. So I had to send it back, and I wound up calling Cox and threatened to quit. And that's when I got down to $50. We're at $50 now, and have been consistently at $50. And my download speeds are up to about 130 megabits per second, and my upload is still pretty poor, about 4. And so that's been my experience with it. But it doesn't seem to me like the survey is detailed enough, but it's still too detailed that people don't know, won't know.
They're just not educated in all this stuff, they don't know what it means.
Yeah, and my $50 Cox is internet only. I do television over the air or over the internet.
I think,
We got,
Yeah, Miles Schultz, Master Schultz, police super. It seems to me like all you're trying to do is figure out how to get this survey filled out.
yes,
All these other details is just,
yeah, we gotta get something simple and got some data.
would it be
someplace.
possible, if you're gonna use this card, to also, are you just gonna throw these out at random, or are you gonna, how's these cards gonna be distributed?
That's kind of what we're here for.
We were hoping to have a room full of community leaders
You got it.
that would take a handful
All
of
four
cards
of them.
and go back to their group and fill them out.
Well, could I suggest the possibility of considering, along with this card, have another sheet with an explanation of how you might answer these questions? Just a simple explanation. Question number 1, that's pretty easy. Everybody's kind of concerned about question number 2, and everybody sees all these other options. I would think it wouldn't take too much to explain to somebody what the question is asking. And if you're going to guess, go with the lowest, rather than number 4. But rather than try to explain it verbally to each and every person who gets a card, just have something, a sheet that goes right along with that card to help them.
Well, that's an excellent idea. Like on number 2, we talked about, we're gonna add coaxial, cable. And to Bill's point, for the purposes of the people that are going to be deciding this, that works to our advantage. They don't consider T-Mobile hotspots as adequate internet. So,
Well, Chris, to me, at the church we have, of course, the business plan with Cox. Me, I dumped Cox 2.5 years ago, and I've been doing the happy dance ever since. But, I have, I'm the only strange guy that has AT&T, and it works well enough at home for me, but it might not work well enough on it as a business model.
Can we assume that if they put Cox in as a service provider, that it's not gonna be fiber optic?
Right.
Yes.
So that helps on that second question.
Fiber optics, no matter what.
Yeah, it's gonna be coaxial.
Well, for instance, I did a quick little informal survey this morning with my congregation, how many are the residents, how many have internet, almost all of them did. I said, how many have I just asked how many have fiber optics, and there were a couple of them that threw up their hands, they had clocks, and I says, I don't think that's possible in home yet. So they think they have fiber optics, so they would be answering,
It would be.
Well, they would be wrong.
yeah,
I wish they weren't.
It makes more sense, just like, kind of like you're saying there, it makes more sense to ask, who is their provider?
Well, it does.
And then you can infer what they're getting from that. And then ask them, are you paying for just the basic lowest plan, or have you upgraded to a higher level plan?
Question number one is, who is your current
Boom, so I
internet
put Cox in
provider?
there. Don't answer
So-
to, or write in coaxial after the
You
question.
need to write in coaxial.
After the question.
Well, that's what he's
I
getting
do.
at, can we put together a little cheat sheet? If you answer Cox on number one, then you answer coaxial on number two,
Yeah.
and if you're paying $90 on number 5, you answer, I mean, just, and it doesn't have to be the same number of cheat sheets as we have these, just.
No, I think that's a great idea, but what would you say on the speed?
No,
That's what I said, you're gonna have to refer to the 4, you're gonna have to infer
Yeah,
from the answer to 5.
the speed
It
I
won't be
got.
right, but
Yeah,
it's some kind of,
Because I didn't know, so I looked it up today on my Cox account, and it told me what I, quote unquote, am paying for.
I didn't know either, but I know darn well that nobody's gonna be coming
Yeah,
to,
it
like
is
the
not
High
on
meeting
bill, it's
Thursday,
just-
they're not gonna have the Cox bill with them.
250 and 10.
And you got 215 here?
I got close to that. On my speed, I got, two
I
twenty-nine,
totally agree.
0.3 and 10.
So
Totally
let's just
agree.
dismiss everything else, we'll
Is that
fill out the
consistent?
cards ourselves.
I
Try to
try
get as many
only read
people to answer
and I
one
would
and
have to
five
read
as we
multiple
can,
times before I answer this.
make it simple.
But that, it's interesting when you talked about being closer, far away from.
Okay, so it's right.
Oh,
My
okay, that's good.
computer's right next to it.
Yeah, see, that's why.
So I need to take my PC over to the other side of the room and see if I get the same speed. I can do that. So I would do that, before I fill this out, that's what I would do, is run it a few times and just see what kind of consistency.
By asking how much they pay, you'll know what speed
Sure.
they should get, but they're not gonna know what they're getting.
And maybe they.
Correct.
So we-
That's, yeah, I know that, but then,
Well, you
you
know
know,
you're
you
not
also
getting
ask,
what you pay
are
for,
you getting consistently what you pay for, and that might,
They don't ask you what
nobody's
you
gonna know that, but if they're having issues,
Well,
The
that's,
answer is
you're
no.
gonna have to draw that out of them, you know, was it the lockup?
well, that's to his point, is there a way we can put like a sheet together to give some guidance to whoever? If I was to go to a meeting like HIHOC, Bill's gonna have, and either read or have, you know, here's some guidance for those of you that don't know how to answer this, like he was putting out. We don't have, this isn't rocket science, it doesn't have to be exact, but we have, but if we get enough inference, it's gonna be statistically about right.
Linda made a suggestion that if the people can provide us answers to number 1,
Tell us who your provider is.
number 3, and number 5, that we could fill the rest of it out for them. We can't fill out exactly what they're getting at any one given time, but we can do a sample. You know, we just randomly pick 30 people and
But I don't want
and
somebody to
test
accuse
their,
us of cheating.
test their
later
service.
on.
Well, I guarantee you everybody else is.
Okay,
I would also say on number 4, even though they might not know their speed, we should ask them if they feel their service is reliable.
well then why don't we just ask them to answer as many as you feel comfortable with
then
and you're
go
sure
from
of, and then we'll do the rest.
That'd be okay too.
Mhm.
I think that would be.
Yeah, our problem timing wise is they want this by
Yeah,
mid-July.
we can't
We don't have
redesign
time
this
to
car,
work on a
we
check
can't
with it.
redesign
If you
this
don't
car,
know
we
the
can't have
answer,
an
you don't have to
education.
answer it, but if you do know the answer, go ahead and fill it out.
If 30 cars can take those answers times 100. Sampling, I mean, that's the way most polls go, isn't it?
Well, it would be interesting if we could bring these to the IR meeting and just see how many people are willing to even talk to us and,
Just pass them out and then turn them in.
Yeah, I
and just
think
see
that's
what
what
we
we
get.
do. Every organization we can we take it to Elks even Wednesday night?
Well, you can take it to every church also, and
Well, that was
ask
the
them
plan.
to fill it out at church.
Yeah.
If we get enough
You get
numbers,
enough.
Do you want more than one person in the same household fill it out?
Sure.
We don't want too cheap, is the answer.
Right.
So do most people's answers have to agree?
Well, how would we know?
They don't know about household.
All it says on this is high.
Yeah.
If my wife filled that one, it'd be different.
Well, and I would
And it would
say,
probably be correct.
on question four, that question, are you consistently getting the speed you are paying for? Well, I think I'm probably getting the download speed I'm paying for, but not the upload. So
then it's just-
I guess I'm not
No.
getting,
You're
You're not getting what
paying
you're
for.
paying
You're not
for.
See, there are a couple of questions you can ask there to draw out an answer, like, you know,
I tell you what, if you're getting, say you're getting 100 MIPS, you're not.
Well, we don't wanna get this too complicated. We wanna sit up in a meeting and say, I've got a stack of cards, and if you can answer these questions, great. If you can answer more questions, that's great. But we're not gonna sit there and explain.
No.
We just want as much data as we can get.
we also have the Spanish version if they're in Hispanics.
We do, we have some of the, we have some of the cards? I don't know.
No, I
We have
guess
a digital
the digital
version of it
type
that could be
version.
printed off.
Well, if this was Green Forest, it'd probably be.
Yeah.
That's
But
why we did it.
I don't think in Holiday Island there's gonna be.
Not that many.
All right, so, are we gonna make up the cheat sheet to go along with the card?
No,
We're just gonna.
No, just fill out as much as you can.
Yep.
We got hi-ha. Who's gonna bring the cards to hi-ha?
Do you wanna do that, or you want me to do that? I'll be there Thursday night either, if you wanna do it, do it.
Well, we'll be there too, so whatever.
You can give them to me and I'll bring them back then. You're a better speaker than I am. Let you do that. And technically, way more advanced, so.
I plan on going to the meeting too, so.
Okay.
If we could get cards at Rotary and Elks and all the churches, you'd get a lot of folks.
Now, I don't think we need, I mean, if we got a couple of hundred, that's statistically enough to be meaningful, I would think.
I would think so.
I bet you, and I think she was only talking about 100 at that last meeting.
Well, we can do better than that. This is
I think
Holiday
we
Island.
could.
But remember to.
Al, you and I wanna team up at the Elks Wednesday night?
I'm serving, so I don't know how much time I'm available, but I'm sure you and Pat.
All right.
I'll be there
Okay.
Wednesday night too, so
All right.
if you need some help.
I can do Rotary Friday.
Okay.
And? One church. We got one church here, you gotta be, we're looking for volunteers here.
We got 2 churches here, so.
Oh, you got 2 churches.
Well, if a Presbyterian that's in Rotary happens to fill one out at the church and then Rotary, then
Or just whoever you're getting ready to say, you didn't already fill this out somewhere else, did you?
I would ask.
Okay, who's gonna do Holiday Island Presbyterian Church?
We will.
Okay.
okay. We're serving coffee, so I can't do anything after church.
We'll announce it in the service and then do it after church.
Okay.
We'll pass them out after.
You're telling Presbyterian ones, they'll be the ones with the little coffee screens on.
It's true.
Cookie crumbs.
Is there anybody here from the community church?
Nobody. I'll talk to Jeff and Karen about
You know, they usually come Wednesday night, don't they?
Yeah.
Is Karen still
it.
in?
They're signed up.
Give us some extra ones, we'll give it to them Wednesday night.
This is a, Karen will like this. I think Karen will want to get involved.
That's her kind of thing.
Yeah, you can take up that.
I've got some extra
All right.
ones.
Holiday Island Baptist Church?
I have extra ones.
The one on the hill? No takers?
Well, did Chris call all the churches? I thought you did, right?
I called, emailed.
Maybe we could just, go find a time to drop them off with the pastor of each church.
I don't know who the pastor is, or I know. I
From
know
Steve
Dave
Ward.
Macadam goes.
Steve Ward.
And you're a pastor at what church? Lutheran Church.
give
And
us.
I'm sorry, but what's your name?
Schultz, Miles Schultz.
Thank you for letting Rotary use your.
Well, how do we find
Who are
out
we
the
missing?
county?
Never asked me.
Oh,
We were there before you came.
Yeah, they're before I came.
And there's about,
And some of them go to Shell now.
there's about 7 or 8.
Trying to think of some.
How about the Baptist church on Dove Circle?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, first
they,
other-
they nearly disbanded Dove
They,
Circle.
their phone number doesn't even work anymore.
Yeah, Dove Circle is just about,
That's where Larry.
They got disconnected, huh?
When we get these cards,
I
they're
think they
gonna,
all dispersed to other
Take-
Baptist churches.
You got somebody to get them to where
you wanna-
they're supposed to go?
can we drop them off at the city hall and
yeah, that's the best place. Chris will be here from what, 9 to 12?
Yes.
most of the Catholics can go to one of these other organizations too. Does anybody we give some cards to tell them that they can drop them off at city hall?
Well, hopefully, if we go to Rotary and the ha meeting, then
We'll get them that night.
That night.
What about doing it at the golf leagues? The men's and ladies golf leagues.
That is tough right now because we're on tea
Oh, you're
time.
Well,
doing tea
Coots,
times, aren't you?
I'll take some to Coots.
Coots
Maybe
starts
because
off
we
altogether.
start off shotgun. But Hilga and Hilga now with
Yeah,
the
they're
tea
all-
times,
We don't
it'll make it very
have-
difficult.
Mhm.
Or we could give it maybe Brandy or Wally who starts, maybe they.
Yeah, if
they
there's
lose scorecard.
somebody that's there when they all start, they could hand them a card and say, bring it back when you get done.
Mhm. We'll see what you get.
you get a handful, that's.
Yeah, if we get a few, why don't I, yeah, give me some and I'll take them to him tomorrow morning. And then
See what
Randy,
happens.
Randy.
Yeah, whoever checks them
Randy or
in.
Wally, who'll ever be starter,
Yeah.
and kind of give them some, and somebody will fill them up, and then they can just drop them back at the desk when they're done. Like I said, I don't think we need great numbers. If we get a few hundred, that's gonna be a really good statistical base.
Okay, I think that's a long enough list to get
Yeah.
a representative sample. I'm hoping that we don't miss all the people that,
That's the problem.
that don't have internet, just because Cox wouldn't run it to them. They don't have line of sight to a cell tower, so they're totally stuck with their cell phone as their only.
And it's the trouble, the people that we're gonna be getting it from, most of them are gonna answer yes to one, number one, we need people to answer no. I don't know how to get
And
those.
it would burn me a little bit to produce a survey that confirms the story that
Yes.
Cox has been promoting,
Yeah.
that everybody out here has got everything they need.
Yeah.
Here's another thought. You have there's 30 or 40 ladies that go to water aerobics.
You don't want
during the
wet
week.
cards back.
Janice, or whoever is at the rec center, could be handing out cards to anybody that comes to the rec center
Problem is,
and asking them to fill it out, deposit it back with her.
often do they have water aerobics?
3 times a week. I believe.
Before they go in the water.
There's also the stretch class at the barn that a lot of people go to.
They still
But I
have,
think if we
they
gave
still have
some
line
cards to
dancing down there
Janice,
too.
she could, anybody that comes to the rec center for equipment or check-in or whatever,
Sounds good.
she could have them fill out a card too, and within a week or so, we could have those back, I bet.
Okay, so Linda's gonna get cards to Janice?
I will.
Okay,
I think we have a pretty good.
We could also sit somebody up at Sunfest, asking people coming in, are you Holiday Island residents?
Yeah, you would have to make sure they're residents, not.
No, not necessarily, don't we want anything, we wanna write HI on the Holiday Island residents, but if somebody from Carroll County wants to fill one out, we still need that.
yeah.
You have to know that they're from Carroll County, not Missouri. We get so many people
I
from
know,
Missouri.
but
Well, you say, are you from Arkansas?
Carroll County, because I failed to mention, the grant application will be for the entire county.
Right, I mean, we're designating these Holiday Island, but if there's people that come to any of the meetings that are not from Holiday Island, but in Carroll County, we still want them.
Yeah.
Well, if we get 10 to 15 cards back from every place that we've listed here, you know, we'll have 100+ surveys to turn in.
But hopefully by the time they do it at Thursday, Rotary Friday, the church is Sunday.
Problem with
Yeah,
this,
we do need to set a deadline to have the cards back.
That'll be next Monday, 17th.
Next Sunday, we're gonna have to get.
Is that our drop dead date or something?
I don't know, I didn't know, it's just.
Well, we have a meeting tomorrow, right?
The paperwork says 15th.
Isn't there a consortium meeting?
Tomorrow.
Yeah, I can't go.
Planning commission tomorrow.
What do you mean?
11, the Carroll County
Oh, okay.
consolidated.
No, it says June.
I'm sorry, when's the deadline? We've already missed it.
I'll have an update on the absolute drop dead date.
He said
Tomorrow.
She gave a later deadline when she was here last time. She said it was the end of July. She got it by the end of July. I thought it was.
But that's the quicker we can get them to her, the better.
Yeah, because they have to have theirs in by mid-August
Yeah.
sometime.
I bet you $100 she's already got that report. I'm telling you.
Oh, well, Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
the only fallacy I see in this is the people you're gonna get cards filled out for are the people that participate in things, which is about 400 or 500, 2,500 people that live in Holiday Island. That's all those people, you ain't gonna get them.
No.
They don't go to anything. You wanna take
Unless
a
they
hike
go to the
down.
grocery store.
And that's why I say, our best bet, if we wanna get serious about it, is try to get somebody to go up, you know, sign up and go up there and sit there for a couple hours at a time and bail some of them out, because they do eat.
Well, I mean, if somebody wants to go up there and set up a table, it's fine. I don't have time to do that.
I don't have time either.
It's gonna be 100 degrees after tomorrow, I don't. It'd have to be here
I mean, I think you're right. I think that there's the true underserved that we're concerned about
gonna get them.
probably aren't going to be the ones filling out the cards, but we'll do the best we can.
We could post the digital one on couple of the Facebook pages. Evening.
Oh, God. We got
Well,
any difference.
Hey, you know what we could do? Just happened to think, we could create a form on the website that they could go to fill out.
We've got that.
No, on our website.
On the city website?
It's fillable, that you fill it out.
Well, I'm not smart enough to know, but we could probably, the one that we've got in that packet somewhere.
Is it a fillable form?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so we could use it.
Can you find that, out there, English,
Which one do you want?
English?
Document.
It's not real fillable.
That's what it looks like when you fill it out.
I can see what's this say.
No, he's just hitting keys, but it's filling it out.
It says gonna
Or I
get
can-
people that we
I
want.
can go like this and go.
And where does it go? Is it submitted to?
That's what I'm not sure about.
You know, I can change the form.
So, yeah, there is no submit on it to send it anywhere.
Nope, it's a Word document.
Anybody's capable of adding that to it?
Well, what I was saying, we could put the same thing on our website, so like the contact form on the website where they just hit
Yeah.
submit, and it comes through to one of our emails.
Let's do that then.
Are those folks gonna go to the website?
Well, we'd have to put a link to that page in the newsletter or on
On our our
Social
Facebook posts,
media.
social media.
It's still not gonna get the underserved, they're not gonna, the
Right, the
underserved
underserved.
aren't gonna be looking at the city website.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Well, we might get a few more responses though.
Well, yeah, but they'll be the same.
I hear you on the underserved though.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of effort to go through.
Underserved, you'd have to set up
You
some
gotta
place.
get out there.
Yeah, you can go down.
Maybe at High High, you could ask for volunteers that would sit up at Sunfest and do that.
She's volunteers. Okay.
We could ask.
Yes.
You could always ask.
That's when everybody gets interested in
That's
their
when
shoes.
everybody's like,
Oh, my shoes are tied.
we need some volunteers. Sorry, I gotta go to the restroom real quick.
You weren't looking at me, were you?
Okay.
I think we're just gonna have to do the best we can.
Yeah,
I mean, the perfect way to do it is to go door to door, you know, but that's not practical. I don't know that, I mean, if we can find somebody that wants to sit up by Sunfest, great. But I can't do it, and I'm not gonna try to recruit people to do it.
That's all we can do.
Chris, you wanna hand out cards to people?
I already did.
Okay,
Everybody except Pastor Schultz.
We probably need a few more for the High Hall meeting.
Oh, no worries, I got you covered.
And I'll take a pass for community church.
If you've got any left, I'll take the rotaries.
Yeah, and I'll take some of the
Go
golf
and,
thing.
go and eat 25 for Rotary.
What?
Go and eat 25 for Rotary.
I was gonna take.
everybody in Rotary is in something
Thirty
else.
else.
35 already talked about.
Chris has already got my vote.
But if they forgot how they filled out the first one, then we'll have random data. Okay,
Now, how are we gonna collect these and are they?
the people that are taking cards are going to get them back.
to the city hall.
Chris, 9 to 12.
Are you
To
getting
city
Chris?
hall.
Yeah, 9 to 12.
They,
I can, I was gonna take these to golf, but we won't use
Yeah,
anywhere
some
near
more
that many.
link to Jim's and Rex's.
Dan, I'm gonna text Sandy right now and ask her. for the rotaries.
This will be another vote.
just,
I can get-
that's Friday. Just,
She said closer to the end of July.
yeah, I could be.
I don't know if she's supposed to answer this.
Well, we've accomplished the objective of the workshop. We got the cards handed out to people and they accepted them.
There you go. And the swore on oath, they get them. Hey, no, this is the hardest place I've ever seen to deal with people.
Okey-dokey.
So workshop, do we need a motion?
To adjourn? Yeah, but Jerry's,
Jerry's still.
we're gonna give Jerry a minute to see
Oh,
if
okay.
Sandy can give us a drop dead date.
Those are the latest deadlines to get HI surveys.
And thank you for coming.
Absolutely.
We know who the real volunteers are and how they,
Chris told me there was a door prize.
I thought I was gonna
And-
get a free dinner.
and the sign, the Holiday Island sign by the creek looks fantastic.
Yeah, we sure does.
I drove by there today and, where's the picnic table? I didn't see it.
It's that green thing sitting there beside.
Beside the stone.
At the bottom.
But the green probably blended in with all the
Yeah,
grass.
all
Must,
green
that
grass.
probably.
With those drilled holes, was it lighted at one time?
All right. I,
It's, they were painted red inside.
Okay.
I don't, may have been reflective paint at one point, but they're about an inch and a half deep.
Another, yeah,
clear through the stone?
They're about 2.5 inches in diameter.
Right.
We thought maybe it had golf balls in it at one time or something, but it's too big.
They're too big for golf balls. so
But
we're
does the
not
hole
sure.
go clear through?
No,
Okay.
they're like, it's only about that deep.
Tell you who would know, Larry Stamps.
Well, we talked to Larry, actually.
Larry didn't know the whole history on that?
Usually if he doesn't know, he make up a story.
Yeah,
Yes.
I was gonna say.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
He gave us a logo, but it was an older logo. It was the red and yellow one that, it
He
wasn't.
had a lighter that had.
Yeah, we got pictures from him, but, it's
It
not,
wouldn't work on that.
wasn't the same thing.
I saw someone with a license tag up in the Sunfest parking lot with a license tag that had that logo.
Yeah, there are a few floating
Those,
around.
was it yellow with red letters?
The tag,
Yeah.
I thought it was more reddish colored,
I don't know.
but it had red and yellow in it.
But it's been, it would be an older one, so it may be faded.
Yeah, it might be, yeah.
Dan, her response is, we can go into mid-August.
Oh,
Really?
no
Next
rush.
one next week.
Question I asked is, what is the latest deadline to get HI surveys to you? We can go into mid-August.
We'll get it back.
We'll get them,
So-
we have some time to work on it.
We should
have time to
still
play
probably try to
volunteers
wrap this up in
Try to
2
get it
weeks,
done.
Yep.
Yeah.
just to get it done. So, I'll probably, well, as people collect them, bring them to the office and Chris will start, banding them together, or just hang on to them, and then we'll have to sit down and go
We'll
through
have a
it.
party to fill out the rest of the form.
Yeah,
I'll fill out Barbie.
And if,
to change the record to protect the innocent.
Just to make them look kind of round.
Like Dragnet.
and if you get a chance, if you hear any, anecdotal things about the exorbitant prices that hook up, ask them to send a letter, send it to my email, on the city website. So we use some of the ones we submitted with the last grant application.
Okay, anything else? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All
Alright.
Hi.
What was that?
We
Was
taking
that
the
Pat?
batteries out, or was it?
I moved to.
And they all said aye.